we've got the ever-present blue asbestos.
You're not even allowed to go to Whitnoom at all anymore.
She's a long, slow climb, this one, that's for sure. Just waking up to a beautiful morning at our camp here at Bee Gorge, and we're about to have some brekkie. You can understand why the Rio Tintos and the Fortescues of the world love this place. Look at that. That is solid iron pellets. I imagine they would love to get their claws on this place. Also, we've got the ever-present blue asbestos. Morning.
How are you?
Wonderful.
You're very rugged up.
I suppose I could take a couple of layers off. We're leaving our camp at Bee Gorge and just have a listen to the rocks crunching underfoot. There's a car.
Holy shit.
Well, that was an unbelievable coincidence. We just drove out of camp a kilometer or so, and we bumped into this fella named Mick and his son Braxton, and they've got it's not a quad bike. It's a, what do you call
like
those
a
things?
dune buggy,
Yeah,
like
the old Honda Odyssey, something like that, but the updated version. And they're punching around, playing back in these gorges. But the coincidence is, not 2 days earlier, I was watching a YouTube video on Bee Gorge on a couple of guys that did it on quad bikes, and it was him. That was just unbelievable. He's from Melbourne, and son Braxton is in Perth now.
Or just finished up in Perth, he said.
Yeah, so what are the chances, hey? Far out. What that does mean is that the track will be very nice and flattened on the way back out, because it's got our tracks plus 2 other vehicles.
He thought the tracks in front of him were quite fresh.
Yes, he did say that, didn't he?
Yeah, and they were.
Jill, a rock. It's like a bloody roof tile. It's crazy. It's got a perfect layer in it, a band layer in it.
That's cool.
It is unreal.
He spotted it out the door.
I don't think so, huh?
Okay.
Now I gotta get down without dying. In this scree. My safety thongs. Yikes. Did it. Well, Mick, the fellow that we met a little earlier, put us onto this spot where he said there's a bunch of petroglyphs, and by golly, we found them. I have no idea how old these suckers would be, but I'd say there's not a lot of human eyes that have cast their eyes on them. There's a goanna by the looks of it. That's cool. There's a, I don't know, serpent thing. 2 arms, a head, a leg, big set of nuts. There's another one. That one is a goanna. There's its head and 2 legs. There's a spear chucker. That's cool. And the light is really bad. But there's his head, there's the spear, and his hand holding the spear. He's got a big nutsack too.
That looks really cool.
Oh, there's a googly-eyed monster. A sleestack, I reckon. If you're over 50 and from North America, you should know what a sleestack is. There's another sleestack. We would have never in a million years been able to pick those from the car. The track's about 30 meters from this wall. Thanks, Mick. That's awesome. Very privileged. Well, that is it. We are now out of Bee Gorge on the track that goes across this sort of spinifex savanna back out to the main road. And our next stop is going to be Whitnoom, the town, and then the gorge. We were here about 33 years ago. It'll be very interesting to see how much more dilapidation has happened in those 33 years. That is Whitnoom dead in front of us. And there's a lot of stuff blocking the road by the looks of it. Cemetery parking. That was for the Whitnoom Cemetery. Heavy machinery in use back there. Now, what would they be doing? It is at the moment, that's for sure. I wonder, are they doing rectification works with all this heavy equipment in there? Yeah, you can't even get in there now.
Demolition in progress, it says. You're not even allowed to go to Whitnoom at all anymore.
Well, I just popped the drone up, and they are indeed dismantling that whole town. Anything left, they're putting into giant pits and they're burying it. And I don't know what they're doing out at the mine site, if anything. I reckon they'll just block that off and forget about it. That's just too big of a job to try and do any environmental containment. Well, Whitnoom was a bust. We then were going to duck in for lunch at Jafffa Gorge. That was a bust. That road is blocked off completely now with blue asbestos warning signs right across the front of it, so you can't get into Jafffa Gorge now. So we are going to grab a burger or something at the Oski Roadhouse, which is only about 5 kilometers up here in front of us. Whew, 4-banger. We're now heading in a southerly direction, and we're coming through an area called Mungina Gorge. And we're actually looking for a track that takes us back in there. I don't like our chances, given the last 2 CBs, but what the hell, we'll give it a crack. And if that doesn't work, then Mt Meharry is next on the list.
No, mate, you'll only overtake me 5 k's up the road, so I'll just back down and enjoy the slow ride, mate.
There are road trains everywhere.
I'm only turning off 20 k's up the road anyway, but it's all good.
There's a 4-banger in front of us going the same direction. There's a 4-banger heading towards us. There's a 3-banger in front of him. Unbelievable. They're everywhere. Looks like we're going around the triple and the crane as well. We are just crossing into the Carragini Park boundary on the way to Mt Meharry. The track in here is about 30 kilometers or so to get to this point. It's a combination of a corrugated crap road and a corrugated crap track. And I suspect that this particular track won't be near as bad simply because you can't get any speed up, because you're climbing up this mountain the whole time. As the crow flies, we are 4.9 kilometers from the peak. It's 2 o'clock now, so I'll let you know when we get up there and how long it takes us. So far, the track is easy peasy, but it's just starting. Here's the old track risk sign. Venture forth and you may die. Cool. Thank you sign. All right, this is where the track proper begins. We just passed a Holden Aventra parked up behind us. That's one of these all-wheel drive wagons, and obviously he is not prepared to take this on, so he's possibly jumped in with somebody else to get up to the top. Either that or he's walked it. But this is where the track starts for real. I've dropped the tires down. I've got 20 in the back and 18 in the front, and it's time to crawl up this nastiness. We're still about 4 kilometers from the top. That looks pretty cool. And that looks like the start of the steep part of the track. Alrighty, up we go. We're in second gear low at the moment, and I have no doubt we'll be dropping down into first. Good old melon holes from the open center vehicles. Down to first we go. I'm gonna pop the diff locks in for this little section. For those of you that say, oh, you're a pussy for using diff locks, I got up in 2-wheel drive. Well, to those people I say, thanks for destroying the track. I've got them. I'm going to use them. I didn't put them in there so they could slosh around on the oil by themselves. So far the track has been straight up, so you're not on any of those bloody crazy angles, pitched angles, which is good, because those are always scary. Looks like people have been doing a bit of track building here. We're going to take this right-hand line for starters.
There are big rocks here beside me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the gnarliest of the sections.
Well, left is my recommendation at this point.
Okay.
We went right, and I don't recommend that.
When you get to the triple decision, Jill calls go left. She's a long, slow climb, this one, that's for sure. I think as a minimum, you would probably want some lift on your vehicle and some decent tires to take on a climb like this. I don't know whether I'd take this on with a bog stalker. Now, I'm sure lots of people have, but I just like the assurances of something a little bit more capable, I guess. Some nasty melon holes in this section. According to our map, we are 1 kilometer from the summit. This stuff here is pretty steady going. We're in second gear, low range. All right, now what do we got? There is the summit. I can see the can up on the top of the hill. Have a look at that track. Does that ever look intimidating, doesn't it?
Yes.
The can for the top of Mt Meharry, dead in our sights. Car's at 83 degrees engine temperature and 95 degrees ATF. That's not bad, and it's 3 o'clock.
1 hour.
1 hour of straight up driving. Very cool. Mt Meharry, WA's highest mountain, 1,248 meters above sea level. Woo-wee, what a view! And what a summit it is. Truck's up there. I've just walked down to the edge to have a squiz, and views unbelievable. If logged full, please ring NW and a phone number. What do we got in here? How do we open this? Here we go. Holy cow. Oh, taco seasoning mix. Yummy. Logbook, holy shit. Look at the crap in here. Bon Jovi cassette, pen, lots of pens, golf ball, fuel pressure or oil pressure. I think it's an oil pressure sender. Disinfectant, some gear knobs.
Dingle balls.
Dingle balls? I got no idea. What do you think? Do we need to drop a couple of Jafffa stickers in there? I think it's a given. That's a lot of stuff. Let's see if the logbook's full. No? Okay, so we met 2 fellas on the way up that walked. That's probably them. 17th of the 5th, 23 from Milan. No. December of 2020 was the very first entry
in that book. In
this book, yep. So let's just have a look at 2023. Let's just count how many people have been up here this year. 37 parties this year. And in this month, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then us is 6. and the month's only
one
halfway.
Every other day at least.
Yeah, one, yeah.
This month, this is the season for it.
It is the season for it. Yep, I agree. Bryson Birtle Holmes. What a view. My wife had her eyes closed going all the way up, but she made it. Cool. I think it's cold drink time.
All right.
We are settling in to watch the sunset from Mt Meharry, and here is one amazing fact. We do not have one bug up here. Not a fly, not a midgie, not a mozzie, nothing. Unbelievable. I don't know how far you need to go down that hill before you hit the flies, but it's not far. And they're not up here. So that is just the strangest thing.
Watching the sunset from the highest point in Western Australia.
Yes, nobody else is higher than we are right now in a natural sense.
You look like you have a can on your head.
They might be higher than us chemically induced.
Oh.
Not naturally.
No.
We are at 1,248 meters elevation, and that sunset was spectacular, but now they've just switched the light out, so I'm kind of hoping it pops back up again.
That would be nice.
It would. But very, very still winds up here at the moment. It's chilly, but there's no howling breeze, and I'd imagine that this place gets pretty wind whipped.
Looking out towards the east, and you can see lights from various mining camps and work areas. It's a very busy place out there for mining.
Time to leave Mt Meharry. It's absolutely amazing up here. If you get an opportunity, get on up. Just make sure you've got a very capable vehicle, because it is not a walk in the park. If you've done Mount Nameless at Tom Price, this is nothing like that. It is a proper four-wheel drive track. You can see the track up there at about the 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock position. It drops down off of Mount Meharry, and then it goes up one of the slopes before it drops down into the really, really hard four-wheel drive stuff. It's pretty cool the way you can see the track following along that ridge line before it drops over the edge. You can see the track dead in front of us too, out on the flat that goes to the road. I'll try and do a zoom in on it for those watching, and you might be able to pick it. I really hope that the GoPro doesn't sort of flatten out that image in front of us, because that's pretty spectacular, that 3D nature of the mountain ranges going off into the distance. We're starting to get into the steeper section of the track now where it drops off the ridge. These angles never feel nice on a big hill, do they?
No, cameras never show them though.
No, they don't. That's true. Not quite sure why there's a sidetrack there. There's Jill down there trying to find a spot to do a little bit of filming where it's not straight into the sun. But you can check that out from a bit of size and scale perspective. It's crazy steep right here. This section here is the most difficult section of the track, and you've got 3 lines. You got a left line, that's your easiest. You got a center line, that is probably the hardest because of the rock steps, but you get the most grip on that one. And then you got this right line, which isn't too bad, but you're coming in on it on an angle, so you've actually got to shift your car around, kind of point the nose up here and then do back, forth, back, forth. But once you get it around and lined up properly, it's a straight line. That was the line that we took up. we're going to take the easy line down.
You can see how holes have been filled in with rocks on purpose because the melon holes are so big.
Okay, down the easy line, which going down is on the right, coming up is on the left.
That edge with all the rock.
This is just on the lower side of that sort of triple pass area, which is probably good that this hard section is right here because it's right near the very base of the mountain. So if you can't get this, that's it, you turn around. But if you can get up this one, you should be able to get up the rest of the way. That's it, we're off the mountain. Thank you, Meharry. That was a wonderful, wonderful experience.
There's beautiful little purple flowers that remind us of clover back in Canada. And they feel papery and clovery as well. Very, very pretty. They're along the track here on the way into Mt Meharry or on the way out. Very lovely.
Well, we tried to take a sneaky track to Wheelie Woolly Springs through a BHP mining site, and we made it about 7 or 8 kilometers, and we got to a gate that said, "Not you." So we had to chuck a Yui, and we'll find a secondary route into it. Bit of a bummer, but at least we got to see the BHP works through this mining site.
There's a cool bridge up ahead here.
When we were up on top of Mt Meharry, you could see this place lit up like a small city. There's a dump truck dumpy stuff.
Ammonium nitrate and explosives, but there's no exploding happening today. It said on the sign. 5.8 meter clearance.
Will fit just.
Yeah, right.
We're going into a site called the Mana site.
The Wanna.
The Wanna site.
Hit it backwards.
It's lunchtime, and apparently there's a whole host of petroglyphs back here. You could easily blow by this track from the main road. It's not signed, and it's just a tiny little bush track. Apparently down in this area here is where the Wanna petroglyphs are. So we're gonna pop down here, have some lunch, check it out. Great little picnic spot here. We've got this little dried riverbed, and immediately across on the riverbed is a rock wall. There are literally hundreds, maybe thousands of these petroglyphs on both sides. Just unbelievable. Check some of these out. The turtle guy with a boomerang. There's some sort of spirit. There's another spirit guy. I don't know whether you can see it because the light's not favorable, but there's an amazing kangaroo up there. There's another kangaroo on that face. Those are emu tracks, I believe. These ones are a little bit faded and sort of etched over, but it looks like there's a, I don't know, a palm leaf or a fern leaf or something there. And check that guy out. That is an absolute beauty. He probably stands 3 feet tall. Wow. There's another cool sort of spirit figure. Boy, that's got some age to it, that one. There's another one there, sort of a spirit figure. There's a really faint one just there in the black rock. And just there are 1, 2, 3 boomerangs. 2 boomerangs and one of those ones with the club head on it. Have a look at that wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spirit figures. There's a kangaroo in there. He kind of got written over top of. And then up the top here, there's another spirit type figure with the x-ray in him. You can see his rib cage. And then there's a little ghosty thing. Wow, there's a really old carving there. It's like of a kangaroo. And there's a spirit figure there off to his right. And there's 2 googly eyes all by themselves. There's an awesome spirit figure guy there. He's probably 3 or 4 feet tall too. Another really cool spirit figure. Couple of stick figure guys. That's more my speed of petroglyph. If I was the artist, it's almost like a family there. There's a whole bunch of people. There's Jill walking down the middle of the gorge area with all the petroglyphs, just to give you a bit of the feel of the size and the scale of this place. It is a veritable art gallery. Definitely worthwhile for the, I don't know, 5-kilometer drive off of the main road or so. You won't get in here in a conventional vehicle. You will need a 4-wheel drive.